Hello, I'm Money Guru number 29. Did you know that video games are a waste of time? I agree. They are a waste of time.
Fellas, he's kind of got a point.
Guys,
Come on.
Think
about it.
I'm gonna go ride my horse and maybe watch a bit of Brokeback Mountain on my DVD player on Blu-ray or something.
Hello, my beautiful fellow pseudo-intellectual gamer. I've heard you got a case for me. You and your entire social circle calls you a f***ing loser, and it's not because of the belly button link you keep chowing down on. They said it's because you play video games? Oh my god, you fucking gumbo chump. How dare you enjoy the greatest art form ever conceived by man. Actually, at this point, just leave. Get the fuck out of my office. The closest building to jump off of is down the street to the right. Some people, am I right? Gaming as a hobby and as an art form have undeniably been looked down upon by society since the dawn of time. Not even Aristotle fucked with gamers. They've always been treated as a lower form of entertainment up until recently. And through almost every generation, it's always been seen as a waste of energy and time. I don't think you guys actually understand how good that segue was. Energy and time that could be spent buying my money-making course for a small fee of $300. Now, to my fellow Sackmen who don't know, there is currently a war at hand. The oppressed minority that is gamers versus the Redpillers. Not actually, they're like a small piece of the problem. A fierce battle that would put Napoleon in a mental asylum from how traumatizing it really is. Now, the reason I bring up Redpillers is just from the sheer amount of these money-grubbing YouTubers that exist that perpetuate the same sentiment. Gaming is a waste of time. That is always the one piece of advice that these people will give you every single time. It's either that or how yanking your Schrader is equivalent to killing your entire family in cold blood over a copy of Chibi Robo for the GameCube. Now, let's group these guys up with the rest of the people who share the same line of thinking. You're gonna see some old people, obviously, some middle-aged, maybe some Sigmas sprinkled in there. Let's take all these people and try to see through their paradigm, their worldview, for just a minute. I always talk about perspective, so it's only fair. Video games to these people are not viewed in the same vein to them like books and movies. They're a waste of time because you're not developing a skill, a craft, and you're not making money off of it, so what's the point? Objectively, they're kind of right to a certain extent, and I say this very loosely because this entire video is disproving this idea. No, Hamza, just because I'm not butt-fucking 14 girls at a single time doesn't mean playing Animal Crossing is the downfall of my entire existence. And for this video, I want to stick to just video games, because if it were media in general, this video would be longer than 2 hours, because there's so much life-changing media out there. I want this video to be more than just 10 minutes of me spitting saliva at you, defending consumerism, and having you think my entire identity is collecting Funko Pops along with jerking off to Garfield's card.
Play some sports instead, they say. You'll never go anywhere in life playing games. Why don't you go outside? Maybe. We're not quite ready to deal with outside just yet.
Please just shut the fuck up, dude. Before we take a bite out of this time-wasting sandwich, I want to set a scene for you guys and explain to you why I'm so passionate about games. When I was a young sackling in Hammerfell, I suffered a life-changing injury to my vision, an injury that cannot be fixed. I probably got this injury from doing some badass shit like doing a quadruple kickflip on my skateboard or saving a girl from a dragon. In reality, it was probably me standing too close to the screen while playing Mario Sunshine. In all seriousness, this injury genuinely changed the course of my life. It diverged timelines, if you will, making me the man that I am today. But the reason I bring this up is because this injury completely changed the way I made relationships. I struggled to throw the old pigskin around with my friends when I was little. I had trouble to really immerse myself in outside activities and just sports in general because of how much I struggled. And even though I was decent, I would eventually reach a cap in my skill. I would get bullied for completely sucking gorilla dick at football and soccer. This obviously discouraged me, and I would always sit out for any of these types of activities as I saw it as a well of anxiety and failure. There was nothing more I hated than being incompetent or subpar at something. Now, see, there wasn't a skill ceiling for a certain activity, something I was genuinely good at, and I think you already know where I'm getting at. And was I bullied for it? Fuck yeah. Playing Gmod Fallout RP at 10 years old with a high-pitched voice really changes you, man. So if I wasn't sprinting around playing tag with my friends in Hammerfell, I was playing Fallout 3 or Wind Waker. Or I was on Minecraft, burning down my friend's house after he called my cave-based dog shit. I built relationships with these people through the game. And as I got older, I made friends through games that would turn out to be life companions. Video games, depending on how you use them, can be relationship builders. There's plenty of people that can relate getting closer to their sibling or parents through video games. Now, let's say you're a boring loser like Batman that has no friends or parents, and you're still saying that games are still a personal waste of time to you. You know, that's fair. You're probably playing single-player games like SimAnt or Quest 64 like a fucking loser. So, I have a proposition for you. Before I enter my Yap Vest, I want to establish something first. Video games are an experience, no matter how you feel about them. Now, a relationship with yourself is the most important thing in life. An uncertain sense of self and a weak character is a recipe to an unhappy life. And the way to develop said character and to develop an enlightened soul is through experiences, whether that be creating your own story in real life or absorbing an already created one made by someone else. You need these experiences, these stories, to develop yourself to prevent your mind and soul from being a static character. I guarantee to the person watching this, you've experienced something that has changed you as a person, whether that be something tragic, joyous, or mind-opening. Undergoing these things can come from a plethora of different ways, and one of these being video games. For the ones calling bullshit, I know people who turn religious after meeting Joshua Graham from Fallout New Vegas. No, I'm not joking. I mean, just look at me. Do you think I've always been black? I heard 3 Dog once on my Pip-Boy and I switched teams. Video games, just like any other experience, can change you. The biggest influence for me was Persona 4 Golden. I know, shocker, right? You guys were probably expecting Little Big Planet, but there's only so much Angry Well Encounter can do to enlighten my soul. If you ignored this game's god-awful gameplay and repetitive palaces, you will find a gold mine worth of growth depending on how you apply it. Yosuke's evil shadow and him accepting said shadow really set the stage for how these characters are going to be played out. They're all flawed, and the only way for them to gain power is to accept themselves, including the parts that they see as evil and disgusting. Yosuke is honestly pretty fucked up. He used the murder of his senior, Saki, as a veil of his true intentions for coming to the TV world. His true intentions being that he thought it sounded like fun. It was all a mystery thrill to him. And as scummy as this part of his subconscious is, he still has to accept it because it's part of him, a part he can't change with buying a $400 course or 15 push-ups. Yosuke is the one that I could relate to the most, realizing I'm not the only one that fabricates thoughts that one wouldn't consciously create in the first place. Kanji's story is written in such a way that implies that he quite possibly likes penis, but ends up in him having to accept his feminine side and recognizing he doesn't always have to be the big, tough, strong guy. It's a beautiful story that you can relate to or help you understand people that are going through this better, and that applies to almost every character in this game. People are flawed and there's a reason they are the way they are, and rather than denying these feelings, we accept them and work through them. Accepting yourself is a major theme of this game, and its realistic portrayal of its characters is still one of the greatest till this day. This game is art and is easily one of the greatest video games that you should experience. And I promise you, at least one of these characters will make you change your mind on something. That's if you get through the palace mazes. I wouldn't even blame you if you uninstalled it right after the first one. And another beautiful moment in the Persona series that I would like to add, because it's hands down one of the most heart-wrenching and thought-provoking segments in any game ever. And that's right, I'm talking about Maruki from Persona 5. I cried more at this part of the game than I did when my firstborn son died. A worldview-changing experience that teaches you that a life without suffering or pain is not a life at all. These negative experiences make us grow and change and makes us who we are at the end of the day. Thank you, Joker. And just like any other experience, they will shape your personality. If you know me in real life, I'm a bit of a fucking weirdo. Usually I look at you and say I'm gonna touch you, but that's besides the point. A lot of my personality traits were thankfully bestowed upon my upbringing, and of course the games I played while growing up. Pikmin is the game that made me the modern day Xavier Charles. I mean, just look at me. And not just that. There's Katamari Damacy, Chibi Robo, Psychonauts, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, the fucking Jungle Book Game Boy game, SpongeBob on crack while driving, Hungry Whale Encounter, obviously. My point is that without these games, I wouldn't be me, and you probably wouldn't be you without them too. If I never played this incredibly niche Flash game, I wouldn't be the man I am today, in short. Now, how do you know if you wasted your time on a game? Because even the most seasoned of gamers can acknowledge when they spend a little too much time grooming kids on League of Legends. It's actually quite easy, and this applies to any form of media. If you consume something, you should always gain something of equal value. If you read a book about self-improvement and you don't apply anything from the book to your life, then you've completely wasted your time and you look like an idiot. You could have spent that time watching the Goku versus Frieza fight in the big green dub. This is the same case for video games. If you're playing any type of story game, you better pray you're learning something from it, or at the very least, you're having fun. What I'm trying to imply here is to stop playing League of Legends. I don't know if you've caught on yet. The only way I can see video games being a waste of time is online games, which are usually specifically designed to make you waste time. Level ups, unlocks, banners, PFPs, other meaningless horseshit are excellent ways to make you feel like you are actually getting somewhere in the game. So good, in fact, that people use this as a crutch for their real life misery because they're at a dead-end job doing nothing besides waking up, working, eating, maybe taking a shower, and going to sleep. Online games have almost limitless content, and if it doesn't, they can always add more. Whenever you think of a gaming addict loser, it's usually going to be someone addicted to online games. Basically, any Riot Games game, these fuckers just make me angry. I don't even know why. I think the only debatably good thing these games give you are the weird bitches that have a mommy kink. I'm not judging though. Battle Royales, I think, are probably the biggest time sinks of all time. You drop in, grab loot, die, and that's basically all you're going to be doing for the next couple hundred hours. And if you're lucky, maybe you can get a dub or two. It's funny because as much as I'm dogging on these online games for being big time wasters, some of these games harbored some of the best memories for me in gaming. Destiny raids, Smash Bros tourneys, not League of Legends, Warzone Season 1 with my friends. These are unforgettable memories I've made for myself that will stick with me. Almost every game isn't a waste of time depending on how you use it. But again, this is all a slippery slope. Addiction is deadly. Latinos are addicted to Dragon Ball. Dr. Disrespect is addicted to minors, and James Charles is also addicted to minors. I think you're seeing a trend here. You can be addicted to pretty much anything, which obviously includes video games. Everything in life needs a balance because too much of one specific thing is just a recipe for disaster. The flack for video games being addicting is definitely warranted to a certain extent. If you're a shitty parent that just throws any electronic at their kid's face to get them distracted and high off dopamine, that's just your fault and you need to stop bitching and do your job. But on the other side of the coin, you have adults pumping 4 billion hours into World of Warcraft for the Great Beanie with 12 defense. Again, it's all up to the individual and how they create something useful out of an experience. If you're mindlessly queuing up by yourself like a loser, you're wasting time. Go get a job, man. But if you truly take the time and make memories with friends that you care about, then I can't see it as a waste of time. Same with single player experiences. If you learn something and apply something from the story, from the characters, or even how the game is visually designed, then it's time well spent. What I'm trying to tell you guys is not to participate in mindless consumerism, eating the next shit game that eventually comes out. The two things you need to take from this is application and enjoyability. If you're having fun making memories, or if you're learning something that'll ascend your understanding and elevate your soul, then why bother with what that money guru has to say at the end of the day? And let's be honest, these red pillars would probably change their mind about video games if they played even a minute of genital jousting. Thank you, everyone.